Hello, Seru mates. Welcome back to another episode of Highlights, a podcast where we talk about what's really going on around the world, from cultural shifts to social justice. I'm your host, Athifa Najdah, and today we're going to be covering a topic that may cause controversial, but we hope that we can shed light into this topic. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about gender equality, specifically in Saudi Arabia. We know that this might cause controversy and very much a lot of issues, but let us hope that with this podcast or with this episode, we'll shed light into this. Our special guest that we're going to be welcoming is very much someone who's very passionate about gender justice, knowing that we as females deserve a right in this world. Let us welcome our very special guest. Okay.
Hi, Seru mates. I'm Rania Hardiana. I study international relations, batch 24 in Universitas Islam Indonesia. I am so glad.
I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, it is very much a pleasure.
It's very interesting conversation because it's gonna be about
gender equality
in Saudi Arabia. Which is, the topic is something I deeply care about because as a
woman to woman, woman to woman.
I deeply care about this issue because I truly believe that this is more than just a human rights issue. It reflects how fair and respectful a society is.
Especially our world today is very much, a lot of things are going on, but we should know that women are also a part of this problem too.
Exactly.
Okay. So Rania, as we mentioned earlier that we're going to talk about gender equality specifically in Saudi Arabia, I just want to know, let's step back a bit and let's have an introduction about this topic, since maybe not a lot of people know about this issue, because I guess you could say it's pretty hidden, but although it is hidden, it is still ongoing. Yes. So just let's briefly talk. Generation to generation is always going to be different, especially our generation now, is very vocal about our rights.
Vocal.
We know our rights. Yeah, especially now social media is growing every day. There's different posts, different news. So we use social media as a base, to really see what's going on around the world. So let's hear from you. What do you know so far of this issue?
Okay, so when we talk about Saudi Arabia, especially gender equality or women rights in Saudi Arabia, it's gonna be very interesting and very important conversation to talk about because it's mix of culture, religion, and also history. So I'm gonna start with this one. You guys know that women in Saudi Arabia, they face so many restrictions.
How many? Let's say.
I'm gonna give like one example.
Okay.
One of the example is that do you know that women in Saudi Arabia, they cannot legally drive.
Really? How so?
So up to June 2018, they finally can officially legally drive.
Oh, really? So that was not too long ago?
Yeah, it was 7 years ago, to be exact. This month we record this podcast.
Oh, I see.
Yes. And then I think it's on 24th June 2018.
So there was an improvement.
Yes. Alhamdulillah.
Thank God.
There was an improvement. And also, they were like the only country.
Oh, the only one?
They were like the only country.
In the world or in the Middle East?
In the world that banned women from driving. Which is, I know that maybe the intention is to protect women, but sometimes when we see it from, other perspective, it might seem a little bit unfair for women because we're not having the same opportunity to do some things. Which is, I feel like it's also very safe to do it.
I see. Because driving is a human basic.
And then I feel like it's a human need. And then how I see it, I don't know, I might be wrong, but it seems like it makes women being too depend
on men.
Because they cannot go anywhere alone, which is, that might seem a bit complicated for us to do other things.
I see. We're very vocal about our rights, especially we're Indonesian girls, still growing.
By the way, Tifa.
Yeah,
I have some of the data that I've collected.
Can we share that?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, I'm really sorry. I'm gonna read.
It's okay. We're human after all. Even though we're talking about women's rights, this is one of our rights.
Yes, and I don't want to. There is gonna be a misconception.
I see.
So I'm gonna read. So recently, there have been major reforms under Vision 2030.
Oh, okay.
Yes, led by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Some of the most notable changes included in 2019, the government removed restrictions on women traveling abroad without male guardian permission.
Oh, so that was recent, and it's just a vision. That's just a vision, okay.
Yes. And then the female labor force participation rate increased from 20% in 2018 to around 37% in 2023.
I see. Wow, that is a lot, you
That is a
know.
lot, you know.
And
It's like
that is an
17%
yeah.
increase, which is it's good. And then women are now allowed to own business without needing male consent.
Also, usually they weren't allowed to
They
have
weren't allowed.
because they work in they're a housewife.
Yes, they
And
were a housewife.
the male
It's,
leads the house.
well, basically, they're the one who literally, have all of the, I don't know what to say that.
The power.
The power and the rights to decide everything. And then in sport, women now participate publicly.
Oh, but does that mean
But it's since actually to 2012.
that is still recently? That's still not too long ago.
Yeah, surprise, right?
Yeah, that was not too long ago.
And well, I know it's not perfect. It's still a journey, but these milestones shows that a real progress is happening.
Yeah, as long as there are improvements for us,
Yes.
you know, especially Saudi Arabia, it was a controversial country a few years ago.
Yeah.
But now that we are living
I
this
feel like
generation,
you couldn't do all of this
Yeah.
like, back 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It's still very taboo. You know?
yeah. But now we're very
We're
open.
very open.
A lot of people have their voices up.
Yes, but for me, sadly, all of these rules and everything, it's come from like the government, not from the society itself. So, maybe there are some areas that like still very culture and not really implementing like the government rules, which is I just kind of feel sad for the woman.
I see, because we know that a lot of women has very great mind. You know,
We have the okay. I feel like it's not fair to say that we don't have the capability or capacity the same as a man, because there are a lot of great women out there.
because we're equal. We're equal.
We have an equal mind. Probably it's just like physically different, but we have the same opportunity and the same rights, the same capability, the same capacity.
Because we know that we could always work for whatever we go through, you know?
Yes.
Even male starts from the bottom to get to the top.
Yes,
So why not woman?
Yes.
So Rania, there was definitely a brief introduction on our topic so far, because we have mentioned so many things in that introduction,
things, yes.
especially the restrictions, the improvements on how they handle this issue. Especially that I just realized or noticed that Rania shared that they recently allowed the driving license.
Yes. It's a new thing in Saudi Arabia. It's like 7 years ago.
Yeah, that was not too long ago considering
Yes.
now, you know? And it was very different like back then and now, like that is so different. So I'm glad there are improvements and hoping
Yes.
that there are more improvements towards the future. Let's get to the next topic or the next question. We'll go deeper into this issue. We'll have a nice talk. So hopefully there is much more information that we could get out of this
Hopefully
episode.
it's not be like too controversial.
Let's hope, because this could stir a lot of emotions. But let us hope our words are not hurting anyone.
Yeah.
Let's not take this personal, because this issue is global.
Yes.
And we're just here to talk about this issue because we are woman to woman, woman to woman. So let's go to the next question, Rania. This issue, talking about Saudi Arabia, talking about gender equality, because we're specifically aiming Saudi Arabia. What is your perspective on this?
Well, I respect their culture.
See.
For me, Liga, I do believe that back then they create these norms and culture and rules. It's based on a good intention. If we see it from other perspective, it could be because that they want to protect women.
I see, to protect us from dangers, maybe.
Yeah, from the dangerous thing that we don't want it to happen. And maybe they prefer women to stay at home because they don't want women to do overwork.
I see.
Yes, so if we see it from other perspective, it could be for something good. It might be for a good intention. But I believe that every individual should have the equal rights, regardless of the gender. What I mean is like now we have the freedom to choose either we want to work or we want to be, like a stay-at-home wife. We have the right to choose,
and it is both as equal as everything.
It's equal, yes.
Even though you're a housewife, you can still be powerful. You can still have the right. You can still have a voice.
Exactly.
Because
it's not about that I want women to work or like have the opportunity to work. Yes, I want women to have opportunity to work, but like they can choose what they want to do,
what they're passionate
what they're passionate about. So it's more like what do you want to do? not what society wants you to do.
And not what society tells you to do.
Exactly.
Because we know that could really destroy someone's mental health.
It's something that destroys you from outside, but you don't notice. It's society, and it's very dangerous. If you don't have the strong mindset, if you don't have the strong principle, it's gonna destroy you.
Yeah, it's gonna destroy you as a person. We're not even talking about gender at this point.
At this point, it's not only about women, but I feel like for men also.
Yeah.
And I really hope that everyone there, not only for men, but every gender there is being more open.
Yeah, especially with the boys, you know. Now in this generation, we're very open. We're very much. We know our rights as a human being.
Yes.
To use the capability on that is very, you know, especially the government. We listen to the government. We have to, you know.
We have to, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they don't want to create our country to become peaceful.
And I'm so happy about this Vision 23.
I see.
Yeah, it's such a step forward, you know, about like what is going on in Saudi Arabia, and I'm so happy for the movement there also.
So that was very informative about, you know, how your perspective as you see this issue as a woman, as a young woman, knowing your own rights. Especially we started from the introduction before that we have mentioned. There are so many things going on, and you know, we're also Gen Z, right? We're the new generation, as they call it.
When we talk about Gen Z and everything, people in internet will be like, always
as a meme, you know,
and everything. But I feel like we're so cool, you know.
Very.
I mean, we brave to challenge like
the government.
We brave to challenge like the existed stereotype or stigma.
To change the stigma for a better future.
Yes, for a better future.
Speaking of Gen Z, we are Gen Z, as I mentioned earlier. How is Gen Z feeling so far? What is their perspective on this issue?
Well, I feel like in Saudi Arabia, Gen Z in Saudi Arabia, it's like they will reshaping the future. I don't know about their perspective towards this issue, but I feel like women Gen Z, they're more pro to like the government, you know, like new rules. And then over 70% of people in Saudi Arabia is under 35 years old. And then they're more exposed to global, they're more exposed about, you know, conversation about gender, human rights, and freedom. And then I believe that we will see noticeable rise in young women entrepreneurs. Because, you know, like they're more open, they're more exposed to the global...
they have better ideas, fresh ideas that are passed down.
Yeah. And then one of the example, I'm not going to say names, but one of the young women from Saudi Arabia, she's an engineer. She's an influencer. Recently gained attention for leading a major environmental tech startup. And then I feel like this wouldn't be possible 10 years ago.
Yeah.
This wouldn't be possible. But now it's possible, and we can see it's like a big changes, and it's an improvement, I would say.
Yeah.
And for social media in Saudi Arabia, they start to be
very open.
Very, very open. You can see like a lot of Saudis like very active in X, Instagram, and TikTok. They're very active. They raise awareness. They support each other. They basically they do like a sharing is caring kind of thing
to show that the world that they are not oppressed and that they're not closed.
They're not closed, and they're very starting to open.
As long as women have their voice, you know, in the social media.
And I feel like social media help a lot for women.
Yes, it is one of the ways where we share news.
Yeah, it's one of the platforms for women to speak up about their rights.
Especially young people now, you know. They're starting to realize the stigma that it's not for them.
Yeah.
So they have the right to change the stigma. That is why social media, I'm sure we are scrolling on social media.
Scrolling. Yeah.
So that's
one of the platforms that we get information.
Yeah.
We know some new things.
Even beside education, we could still use the social media for a better chat. Even though I'm sure social media has its downsides, but we know that social media helps spread words faster. Okay, wow, that was a lot to take in. Let's take a deep breath first, because that was too much to process from the introduction on how this issue started, and then we moved on to Rania's perspective as, you know, as a Gen Z, and then the last part we kind of covered was how the generation sees this, because again, back when I said that different generation has different takes, different points, you know, because we cannot always rely on the past. We have to move forward. In order for
our generation is the one who's gonna live the future.
Yes, and we're hoping the next generation after us will continue that legacy, because our ideas are obviously gonna run out. So hopefully the next generation has it. But that was a deep
That was
a
a
deep
very
dive.
lovely conversation.
Yes.
So that was a very lovely, informative, and woman to woman talk to be exact.
Woman to woman too, you know.
I mean, if you're a man, I feel like it's also nice to watch this.
Yes.
Because
It gives you more info
it's
on how we
more
feel.
insight on how we feel, and then how like I'm not gonna say like human rights kind of thing or like gender equality, but that's just like how women sees gender equality.
I see.
What do we want actually?
Yeah.
And I hope I can be like the voice for women. I hope that I don't mislead like
Yes.
the information I gave. It's not like misleading people.
Mm-mm. We're still students at the end of the day. We are still human. We make mistakes.
Mistake, and yeah, that's part of learning.
Yes, that is part of learning. But sadly, Rania, as we know, everything comes to an end.
Yeah.
And sadly, we are ending this because we have had such a great time talking about this issue. You know,
we can go for days talking about this.
for days. Yes. Yes. Because there's so much to talk about. Not only in Saudi Arabia. Obviously, this is a global, but we're aiming for Saudi Arabia because it was an eye-catching topic, to talk about. But sadly, as I mentioned earlier, it has come to an end. We had such a great time. It is an honor to have you on our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me here.
This has been so fun, especially taking this, and then we've had brief days before talking about this. We have planned this, especially with our busy schedule. Even though we're in the same class, we have different schedules outside of campus. But I guess that is it.
Thank you so much.
It is an honor to have you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye, Stairmates.